Burial Society by Charles Lamb. A favorable opportunity now offers to any person, of either sex, who would wish to be buried in a genteel manner, by paying 1 shilling entrance and 2 pence per week for the benefit of the stock. Members to be free in 6 months. The money to be paid at Mr. Middleton's, at the sign of the first and the last, Stonecutters Street, Fleet Market. The deceased to be furnished as follows: a strong elm coffin, covered with superfine black and finished with 2 rows, all round, close drove, best Japan nails, and adorned with ornamental drops, a handsome plate of inscription, Angel PG 108 above, and flower beneath, and 4 pair of handsome handles with wrought grips. The coffin to be well pitched, lined, and ruffled with fine crape. A handsome crape shroud, cap, and pillow. For use, a handsome velvet pall, 3 gentlemen's cloaks, 3 crape hatbands, 3 hoods and scarfs, and 6 pair of gloves, 2 porters equipped to attend the funeral, a man to attend the same with band and gloves. Also, the burial fees paid, if not exceeding 1 guinea. Man, says Sir Thomas Browne, is a noble animal, splendid in ashes and pompous in the grave. Whoever drew up this little advertisement certainly understood this appetite in the species and has made abundant provision for it. It really almost induces a tedium vit upon one to read it. Methinks I could be willing to die, in death to be so attended. The 2 rows all round close drove best black Japan nails. How feelingly do they invite, and almost irresistibly, persuade us to come and be fastened down. What aching head can resist the temptation to repose, which the crape shroud, the cap, and the pillow present? What sting is there in death, which the handles with wrought gripes are not calculated to pluck away? What victory in the grave, which the drops and the velvet pall do not render at least extremely disputable? But above all, the pretty emblematic plate with the angel above and the flower beneath takes me mightily. The notice goes on to inform us that though the society has been established but a very few years, upwards of 1,100 persons have put down their names. It is really an affecting consideration to think of so many poor people, of the industrious and hard-working class, for none but such would be possessed of such a generous forethought, clubbing their tuppences to save the reproach of a parish funeral. Many a poor fellow, I dare swear, has that angel and flower kept from the angel and punch bowl, while to provide himself a bier, he has curtailed himself of beer. Many a savory morsel has the living body been deprived of, that the lifeless one might be served up in a richer state to the worms. And sure, if the body could understand the actions of the soul, and entertain generous notions of things, it would thank its provident partner, that she had been more solicitous to defend it from dishonors at its dissolution, than careful to pamper it with good things in the time of its union. If Caesar PG 109 were chiefly anxious at his death how he might die most decently, every burial society may be considered as a club of Caesars. Nothing tends to keep up, in the imaginations of the poorer sort of people, a generous horror of the workhouse more than the manner in which pauper funerals are conducted in this metropolis. The coffin nothing but a few naked planks, coarsely put together. The want of a pall, that decent and well-imagined veil, which, hiding the coffin that hides the body, keeps that which would shock us at 2 removes from us. The colored coats of the men that are hired at cheap rates to carry the body, altogether, give the notion of the deceased having been some person of an ill life and conversation, someone who may not claim the entire rites of Christian burial, one by whom some parts of the sacred ceremony would be desecrated if they should be bestowed upon him. I meet these meager processions sometimes in the street. They are sure to make me out of humor and melancholy all the day after. They have a harsh and ominous aspect. If there is anything in the prospectus issued from Mr. Middleton's, Stonecutters Street, which pleases me less than the rest, it is to find that the 6 pair of gloves are to be returned, that they are only lent, or, as the bill expresses it, for use on the occasion. The hood, scarfs, and hatbands may properly enough be given up after the solemnity. The cloaks no gentleman would think of keeping, but a pair of gloves, once fitted on, ought not in courtesy to be redemanded. The wearer should certainly have the fee simple of them. The cost would be but trifling, and they would be a proper memorial of the day. This part of the proposal wants reconsidering. It is not conceived in the same liberal way of thinking as the rest. I am also a little doubtful whether the limit, within which the burial fee is made payable, should not be extended to 30 shillings. Some provision, too, ought undoubtedly to be made in favor of those well-intentioned persons and well-wishers to the fund, who, having all along paid their subscriptions regularly, are so unfortunate as to die before the 6 months, which would entitle them to their freedom, are quite completed. One can hardly imagine a more distressing case than that of a poor fellow lingering on, in a consumption, till the period of his freedom is almost in sight. and then finding himself going PG 110 with a velocity which makes it doubtful whether he shall be entitled to his funeral honors. His quota to which he nevertheless squeezes out, to the diminution of the comforts which sickness demands. I think in such cases, some of the contribution money ought to revert. With some such modifications, which might easily be introduced, I see nothing in these proposals of Mr. Middleton which is not strictly fair and genteel, and heartily recommend them to all persons of moderate incomes, in either sex, who are willing that this perishable part of them should quit the scene of its mortal activities, with as handsome circumstances as possible. Before I quit the subject, I must guard my readers against a scandal, which they may be apt to take at the place whence these proposals purport to be issued. From the sign of the first and the last, they may conclude that Mr. Middleton is some publican, who, in assembling a club of this description at his house, may have a sinister end of his own, altogether foreign to the solemn purpose for which the club is pretended to be instituted. I must set them right by informing them that the issuer of these proposals is no publican, though he hangs out a sign, but an honest superintendent of funerals, who, by the device of a cradle and a coffin, connecting both ends of human existence together, has most ingeniously contrived to insinuate that the framers of these first and last receptacles of mankind divide this our life betwixt them, and that all that passes from the midwife to the undertaker may, in strict propriety, go for nothing, an awful and instructive lesson to human vanity. Looking over some papers lately that fell into my hands by chance, and appear to have been written about the beginning of the last century, I stumbled, among the rest, upon the following short essay, which the writer calls The Character of an Undertaker. It is written with some stiffness and peculiarities of style, but some parts of it, I think, not unaptly characterize the profession to which Mr. Middleton has the honor to belong. The writer doubtless had in his mind the entertaining character of Sable in Steele's excellent comedy of The Funeral.